Probleme hier gehabt hat. Also Jelle Frank von der Z ist von Interxion und wird hier uns Truth and Lies about Latency in the Cloud. I don't know about you, but when I heard this title, I immediately thought of a Tarantino film. So I'm very excited to hear what Jelle is going to talk to us about.
Well, I'll use this time to give you a short introduction about myself. My name is Jelle Frank van Zwet. I work for Interxion, that is a data center provider. I'm the global marketing manager, so I'm very used to giving commercial pitches. So this is very challenging to me. But when I saw that it was a lightning talk, I thought, well, let's talk about latency, because that is a subject that I think appeals to a lot of people here. And listening to Tim and all the requirements for clouds and try and plotting it into quarters, well, that's basically part of my job to do as well. But if you take performance or latency into the equation, you might have a slightly different outcome. And specifically when talking about cloud, and when I saw the figures about public, private, and hybrid cloud, and I think you gave the right definition about hybrid being a combination of the both of them. But that would mean that private and public together would be about 100%, and it would have the hybrid situation in there. Because what we see today is companies approach cloud in silos, have a different cloud for either an application or a business purpose. But in the end, we will see a cloud of clouds where you combine the clouds you have and the applications you have, even with on-premise, and defines your new IT environment. So, which button? This one? So, what I hope you will take away from this presentation is what latency is, why it is important, and how you can reduce it. Now, we all remember that when we worked on these things, we had a pretty good understanding what latency is, and the slowest factor was swapping the drives. So trying to define latency is not simple, and it's about three things. It's the endpoints that aren't fixed, whether you're on a mobile network, on a fixed network, whether it's fiber or not. Consider the location. We have mobile users all over the world, and who are the ultimate owners and end users of the applications? And this is a picture of the new data center of Facebook in Sweden. Now, why would you put it almost at the end of the world, where the power is cheap but the latency low? Now, the true cost of latency can add up, and I got these figures from the internet. Half a second delay for Google can cause a 20% drop in their traffic, and their traffic means making money out of ads. And the same goes for Amazon, where they see their sales drop when a second of delay is on their network. Now, there are, of course, a lot of complicating factors. In the old days, it was either in our server room or in one data center. Today, it is distributed on multiple locations or even all around the world. And virtualization adds another layer as well. There is even latency within the virtualized environment before data leaves the rack. And when you want to measure it, surely you can do a ping, but it's also look at what kind of protocol your application is using and compare that. And of course, when you start in networks, it's also about the quality of service. Now, what can be very helpful is to triage your applications into a similar overview and decide whether compute intensity, the network bandwidth, and the latency relates to each other. And of course, the high-frequency machine-to-machine trading that we see a lot these days, and for some parts have caused the economic crisis, is a very explicit example. And for things like HD video and online gaming, there are CDN solutions. So considering your applications is not all about availability, but also about performance. And like I said, we live in a world of many clouds with even more applications, and enterprises still approach cloud as silos. Now, I could talk you through a lot of these examples, but concerning the time, I invite you to come to our booth, and I'm happy to explain some of that. So the most important thing for enterprises is, how do I bypass the internet? Because the internet has no SLA. And in the end, I either want to connect my managed hosting environment to my public cloud, my private cloud to my public cloud. I want to use a combination of this. So What we see happening in our meet-me rooms is that to connect all these different kind of applications for a certain purpose. So it's either for supplement capacity when you need a lot of more data, for example, for big data analytics, or real-time data feeds. Think about your collaboration application that's getting more advanced. Distributed applications like a CRM environment where you want some functionality from the web, but you want to store your information on another location. And one of the, well, greatest examples for me to tell is about, for example, the gaming industry, where we see a very peak in the load for the first 6 or 9 months when a new game is coming out, and then it more eases themselves off. And a good example there is Zynga, who used to be a big customer for Joyent and Amazon, but now has built their own cloud. So one of the things to try this out, and this is not commercial, is free test labs that we host in our data centers, and specifically the one with Eucalyptus and Arista that we have in our Frankfurt data center here. It's free for use, and especially the capability of a Eucalyptus solution to directly connect to the Amazon environment gives you the ability to try and test this hybrid environment. Now, closing off, this entire story and 4 more details you can find in a white paper I wrote together with David Strom. It's available on our website for you free to download. And I hope you enjoyed this and have a lot of fun with the white paper. Thank you very much.